Hey there, Wayne DeFrancesco here, and if you're on YouTube, I hope you'll visit my website. There's a lot of cool stuff on it. You can read some of my articles and take a look at the other videos that I've been doing. Today we're going to look at great player Nick Price, now on the Champions Tour, and he's really just started to come back into his own, and looks like he's going to be winning fairly regularly out there. Because great player and one of the better ball strikers of all time. He lost it a little bit when the equipment changed because he was never a power hitter. So, and I think he even recounts that when he tried to increase his distance, he lost his swing somewhat and sort of wandered off from the things that he did so well. And now that he's back where he doesn't really need to hit it super far, and he's allowing himself to swing the way he usually swings, he's doing great. So a couple things about Price that you can see right away. One is the tempo was always very quick, so I always enjoyed the pace of his swing. A lot of times I'd be teaching people and they would be talking about having a light grip, and I would ask them if they'd ever saw Nick Price waggle a golf club, and then I would show them. I'd shake the thing back and forth like he used to do, which it's impossible to do unless your grip is quite firm. So anybody with a quick pace like this is going to have a nice firm grip, otherwise the thing would fall out of their hands. So a couple things. Price had the club in the downswing on the plane about as well as anybody you're ever going to see. This is a signature Ledbetter move where the shaft in the backswing would point somewhere between the feet and the ball, and then it would go up relatively high. Now he had a nice grip, so that when his wrist looked just fractionally cupped, the club face was pretty much just perfectly in between open and closed. So just when the face is matching that left arm, it always looks kind of cool up there. Fractionally high, you could say that his swing tended toward the upright. If you look at the progressions, 55, 62, 67. So that's pretty standard, 7 and 5. Most of the time when I look at my swing, I'm up about 12 degrees as well. One thing that's noticeable, a little different between Price and some of the players now that hit it a little further, is that he doesn't lower in the backswing. He'll lift just a hair, a little more with his driver, but nice depth in the right hip. Pretty free leg movement, which is common for an 80s type guy. Here he's got the heel down. When I show you the driver's swing, you'll see it. It's the heel comes up somewhat and the swing gets much longer. But very stable. You can see the head and the hips both stay neatly in the box without too much movement to the right for sure. Now in the forward swing, the signature move to me is the large amount of lateral slide. And what he would do, there wasn't as much rotation in this as some players, and his heel would come up, and in the forward swing he would move toward the toes of his left foot first just a little bit, but the arms had this amazing ability to flatten the shaft and fall back in, and that right arm would straighten and the forearm would just get just about perfectly on the plane, and the club would arc around. So you can just tell it's not going to be a power move because it's fairly wide coming into the ball. There's not a huge amount of snap in it, but right on the money as far as arcing the club around. So the release was very gradual, and I'm sure I watched him hit balls a couple times, and he just would hit these nice flighted tiny draws that just looked like they were going where he was aiming all the time. A little out of the box on the forward swing. So these are a couple of things, if you compare him to some guys, would be slightly different. But again, his ability to straighten his right arm and get his arms down into that shaft plane approach and release was really exceptional. And as usual, you can see him lowering in the downswing like everybody does pretty much. And he would produce, with that forward motion in his hips, a fairly forward-leaning impact, so he could flight the ball very nicely. But you'll notice that if you look at the timing in which his left leg disappears, it's really not until the shaft gets just about parallel to the ground, which is fairly late in the game relative to some of the guys that produce more power. So if we go to the, let's see, if we go to the front view here, already did that one, let's see here. Or we go to the back view of the driver, and then the front view of the driver. Now this one's a little close-up, but it's the only one where the camera didn't jostle around a bunch. So here you can really, if you watch, even with the driver, you see the little forward press with the hips. And then as usual, loading up for a little more energy, he's going to notch backwards just a bit and then really push that thing forward. So you can see, pretty surprising. You would think maybe that the driver swing wouldn't have as much lateral, but it does. And then on the back view, here's where you can really get an example of why he drove the ball so nicely. Because watch how this thing gets back onto the plane here. Nice takeaway, pretty much straight out in front of him, up just fractionally above the shaft plane. There's the shaft again, more vertical, which was something that they would do on purpose. The knees nice and symmetrical. There's a little more of the lift, and there's the left heel up and then the slight movement forward. So the right knee pushes, the heel comes off the ground a little quick. Now watch this right arm. Looks like he might come in high, but watch this. Just perfect. So I wish I knew how to do that. And then just beautiful arc on the way around. You could just tell he could hit a lot of fairways doing that. And again, the pacing of it, just bang, bang. Just very athletic, nice and quick. I like to get people to watch this who swing too slow, which is just about every woman that I see swings a little bit too slow. And again, the nice club face and wrist position at the top. Very cool. So, today's swings you would see probably less separation in the knees, probably a little bit lower with the head on the backswing, a little more compression into the ground, and not as much shaft transition where it shifts quite that much. See that big kick? But what a great job of unwinding that thing and getting it onto the shaft plane. So very interesting swing, and expect him to do, like I said, very well going forward.